Sponsored by heshes.co.uk, a fast-growing boxing equipment brand that give 20% of all sales on the branded products back to a boxing gym of your choice.
Hello and welcome back to the All Things Rugby League podcast on Niche Sports. I'm Lewis as always, and I'm joined by Jordan. How are you this week, Jordan?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Busy weekend, knackered today, but no, we enjoyed that one. Magic weekend in the Super League, obviously, a brilliant weekend. My first Super League game, and well, first 6 Super League games, and first Magic weekend experience, and I'd definitely rush back and wish it was the same thing every week.
Absolutely, I think doing more things like that is just perfect for the game, especially with the talk of them getting rid of it. I think that showed why it needs to be kept this weekend.
Definitely, it was a great round of games, and obviously we missed an episode last week just due to myself, yourself, and Dan all being busy with different things and unable to record on the same day. So we apologise for that, but it just means we've got plenty to catch up on today. So we'll try to keep it as short as possible. But no doubt it'll be another good episode. So getting right into it, the Super League Magic weekend kicked off in style on Saturday early afternoon. We had obviously Salford versus Hull KR, which was a 26-16 result. Actually, one of the better games of the round, being the first one. I know you unfortunately couldn't make it, Jordan, but you were at home and you watched all the games. How did you find game one?
I think potentially that was possibly the best game of the round for me. I think it was a shock that Salford won, just overall that they won, because Hull KR have been very dominant. But I think they deserved that win because in attack they looked dangerous, but they also kept defensively strong when they needed to. And obviously that takes top side. But they almost played like how I expected Hull KR to play. And it was kind of like the roles were reversed, and we kind of saw the Salford from the start of the season that was entertaining to watch again.
Yeah, we've spoken about it a lot now, and Salford can put on as many points, but they can concede just as many, if not more, and that tends to be where their losses come from, is scoring big but conceding even more. But yeah, I thought they did put on a good defensive performance. I did, although it was a great game, and like I really enjoyed that as a game as a whole. I thought there was mistakes in different parts that sort of let each team down, and it could have gone either way, and there could have been a lot more tries, a lot more points in that game. Just to sort of be their first Super League game, I really enjoyed seeing how the players play. I think a theme from the whole weekend for me, I'm not sure if it was as evident on TV. I was sort of sat on a touchline, and it was quite easy for me to see, but offside just doesn't get called.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I think the referees, I feel like once they notice it, then they're more prone to call for it, but they just don't seem to notice it most of the time. And I think for a lot of times, particularly in that first game, that it damaged both teams quite a bit. And although if it's kind of equally split out and both teams are neither gaining or disadvantaged from it, I guess it's not too bad. But we see it in games quite a lot where one team loses massive opportunities from it, and it's not really fair.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's some a bloke sitting in front of me, a Leeds fan, and he's an older guy. He's been a Leeds fan for years. He was sort of saying that you do notice though that the referees are taking them back an extra couple of meters to make up for almost knowing that they're going to jump the gun, which maybe makes sense, but also seems like a bit of a bending the rules a wee bit to suit the teams. But I mean, it keeps the game flowing, which is good to see. And apart from a couple of moments, I think it was this game where someone's shoe got flung off, and then it took a while for that to restart. And I think there was a injury to Hull KR, which slowed the game down a bit.
Yes, I think so. I just to touch on the throwing of a boot. I saw a lot of people were on Twitter, particularly Robins fans, which makes sense, being like, when has that ever been a penalty? I don't remember it ever being a penalty, but I do think it's a good thing because it's just unsportsmanlike. You don't need to throw the boot away, and that in itself slows down time, takes one defender out of the line.
Yeah,
it's not really fair, and I'm glad we got penalised for it.
Yeah, it just felt like an age to get the game restarted after
Yeah.
that. But yeah, there's a. It's my fault for not remembering who it was that was stretchered off in the game. That slowed it down a wee bit. But apart from that, it was a sort of free flowing game. Although there was the mistakes in there. The line was broken by Salford a wee bit in the second half. I thought Brierley had a really good second half. At fullback, and that connection with Brodie Croft. See when Brodie Croft jumped out from dummy half, I think that was in the first half.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if they scored off it, but they definitely sort of flew up the pitch. Just bits like that. It was really exciting game to watch.
It's the spine, isn't it, for Salford? The whole Brodie Croft and Brierley rightly get the plaudits, but I think Sneed as well in there, where he's kicking to move them up and down the park, particularly when they're in a bit of trouble, allowing Brierley and Croft to have that space as well is really useful. And I think having that spine is what's almost not the main, well, yeah, I would say probably the main aspect of their attack, which is helping them to drive forward and drive up that table. And I think it's a great asset for them to have.
Yeah, and Sneed's kicking was perfect, and I think it goes unnoticed sometimes how useful 2 points added on after scoring a try can be, and sort of just building up that scoreline. And he was great with the boot. I thought one of the tries of the weekend was when Kane Lynette sort of flipped out the back to I think it was Ryan Hall.
That was a brilliant try.
Yeah, and another Scottish fullback playing, Lachlan Coote. Obviously, he's retiring at the end of the season, but I think he came off with a head injury maybe in the last sort of 10-15 minutes. So hopefully that's all okay. There's a couple of.
I believe he failed the HIA, if I'm right. So
obviously, you're sitting in the stadium, you don't really get that sort of information fed back to you like you do on the telly. So that's sort of good to know, and hopefully he's all okay. But no, again, a great way to open the round, open the Magic weekend, and two loud sets of fans from what I've seen. The Salford fans were up to my left, and the Hull KR fans in the middle of the stadium up to my right. So both loud. And I was saying this to you, Jordan, just before. The only other game in England I'd been to was that England Samoa World Cup opener, and the atmosphere was a bit quiet. I wasn't sure what to expect from this, and it was the closest thing I've seen to sort of football fans with all the chants and the way they got behind their teams. It was a brilliant atmosphere all weekend long, and it was well started by Salford and Hull KR.
I agree. I think it was a lot of passion from them fans in particular, and I think that's kind of a good thing about Magic, because you get all the fans mixing and chatting, and there's never any trouble, which is a great aspect. But there's still that passion that really shows in the games, particularly in Hull KR Salford.
Yeah, and I think that result, from what I've seen on your Twitter, made you quite happy.
Yeah, it did. It did.
So moving on to the second game, it was the Wigan versus Catalans game, which, looking on paper, I thought this was going to be game of the round. It ended 22. Wigan 22, Catalans 46. It was a bit of a dead rubber fairly quickly.
Yeah.
From just the excitement of the first game, and sort of I was in the stadium quite early. I don't know if I was sort of getting tired or whatnot, but it just didn't really capture my attention this game very, very well.
I agree. It just wasn't anywhere near the same level as that of Salford Hull KR, and to be fair, was quite boring almost to watch as a neutral perspective. But I think it's important. I would take nothing away from Catalan, because their performance was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Wigan are probably going through a bit of a tough patch, but to do that to Wigan at any time, no matter what team you are, is quite something. And I think they deserved a win, obviously, quite comfortable. And it was a bit of a shame to see that they kind of let the foot off the gas at the back end of that game, because they could have gone on a lot more. But obviously, Wigan, too little, too late.
Yeah, all the fans were wanting 50 from Catalans. It felt like that. you know, their fan base wasn't exactly prominent, just due to, obviously you're not going to get so many
Yeah,
people traveling from the south of France to Newcastle for the weekend. But there was definitely still some about, and the Wigan fans sort of gave up, and then we're having a laugh with the Leeds fans who are coming
yeah,
in to support their team in the next game. But I did think Arthur Morg had a good game.
I
Uh,
agree.
he
Thought,
seemed solid.
yeah, I was literally just going to say that. That's all I was going to say.
And I think Tom Johnson got a hat trick as well on the wing. So
Yeah,
they did have some good performances, but like you said, as a neutral, maybe not exactly game of the round, which on paper, like we said, it could have been.
yeah,
And I think in both the Salford Hull game and Catalans Wigan, correct me if I'm wrong, all the teams were going into the game on the same amount of points as their opponent. So, you
yeah,
know, they were set up to be great games, and the first one definitely didn't disappoint, and the second one, Catalans, just showed a bit of class, which I think at this point in the season people were maybe not expecting from them.
yeah. I thought there were always, I think for them, they always seem to have that little bit of a stall at some point in their season, which makes sense. Every team does, but more, I guess it's more prominent for Catalan with all the travel that they have to do and all the extra commitments.
Yeah,
A particular game like Magic Weekend, where the very under, not got many fans compared to literally any team in the
yeah.
ground. So I thought Magic Weekend would be kind of the start of that stall, but they proved me wrong. It was a great performance from them.
Yeah, I think they lost 3 or 4 in a row earlier in the season. I think people might have thought that was the stall,
Yeah,
and they've got their season well back on track, and I think are now second in the table.
I think the top now on
Or they
point
top.
difference.
Oh.
On point difference, but yeah,
So yeah, so you know they're proving everyone wrong, and for them a great result for the neutral.
yeah,
Not the best watching. I hope Wigan can sort of get their season back on track.
yeah. Same. They're very entertaining when we click, so it'd be great for them to get back. And although they're still in that fight, they seem to be slowly
Yeah,
slipping further away from it.
yeah, and you know they had Dry Field back, and
Yeah,
Cade Cuss coming off the bench, and Ben French looked exciting at points, but yeah, they just didn't click at all, even when they did start getting a couple of tries near the end. And then the final game of Saturday was, of course, Leeds Rhinos losing out to Castleford Tigers. That was 26-24.
yeah,
A more entertaining game, I think, just because it was close. Leeds fans, they were really loud during the Wigan game, and then you
yeah.
can tell they were sort of nervous during their own game. They weren't as loud. And Castleford, I thought, performed pretty well. I think they were helped a lot by Leeds' errors and the way Leeds sort of played on the day. But a good 2 points for Castleford.
Absolutely. I think a game like Leeds is the sort of game where there's always an opportunity because Leeds are very up and down and it's a derby, and obviously they've done it once already. But I did think Leeds would come out there and absolutely destroy them, to be honest. I thought that it would be that sort of game. But Casford obviously proved him wrong. A lot of negativity around the club in the week prior, but to go and put in a performance like that must be really pleasing for all the fans and the players who have worked clearly so hard to get that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, especially the way Leeds built up to this Magic Weekend, you know, the shirt release,
Yeah,
the Doddy Weir tartan, and everything surrounding Rob Burrow, and they had two of Doddy Weir's three sons at the game, and you know the kit looked great as it was playing as well. There was just a lot of mistakes, and I think they were really able to, especially in that first half, expose the right hand side defence, and I think they
yeah,
went out the back to Widdop a couple of times, and he was just able to make that final pass that sent them in for a couple of tries, and that really felt like where the pressure was coming from. I thought Gareth Widdop actually had a really good game.
yeah. I agree. I think fullback is not his usual position, so for him to play there and get quite a good sort of bit of form and good in attack and defence there is going to be pleasing for him as a whole, but also for Casford. You know, perhaps it was said in commentary that apparently Jamie Shaw was linked with him again.
Right.
And
Yeah.
although I think that'd be great, be a good signing for Casford in the short term. I think if I can rely on players like Widdop to go into them positions where perhaps they're not greatest at and still put in a shift, there'll be something that they need during these times. So they'll be proud of that.
Yeah, especially it's having another half in attack, really, isn't
Yeah.
it? And you've just got that ball playing and the ability to make things happen, and it definitely worked out for them.
Absolutely, I think great decision to play him there. I thought it'd be a weird decision at first, and I thought Leeds would definitely benefit from that, but absolutely not the case.
Yeah, and yeah, to be fair, like Leeds did have some bright flashes during the game, and there was a point where I thought they were going to run away with it, sort of midway through that second half, but
Yeah.
they didn't, and yeah, it was. I think the Leeds fans did seem disappointed and poured out the stadium after as quickly as they could, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it was actually for a neutral perspective, a good game to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I actually thought one moment from that could have maybe been in contention for the knockout below this week with Daryl Alford shushing the crowd on his first try, and then it just went absolutely horribly from there. And
Yeah.
I don't get why he shushed the crowd that early on, because Leeds
No.
Casford, it always had the potential to be the game that it was. And yeah, he used to play for Casford, and yeah, there's perhaps not the greatest of blood there, but it was a silly decision, and he was made to pay for it.
No, I when I noticed that on the replay, and I thought, it was maybe like 10 minutes in or something. I thought, what are you doing? And
Yeah.
and it didn't quite the Castleford fans at all. They stayed in high spirits for the rest of the game, and to be fair, as did the Leeds fans until the final whistle. Although they weren't as loud as they were during the Wigan game, they were still on good form. So another good game to close off Saturday, and then midday. Yesterday we had Wakefield Trinity losing out to Lee Leopards. Obviously, a few talking points in this game. The final score was 30 points to 4 to Lee. Lee, who were playing with 11 men at one point.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the red and the yellow card in that first half?
The red, it was a red. He did clearly throw a punch. I don't know why he did that. Put on my Twitter at the time, why has he done that? David Fafita, he's not a player you mess with anyway, let alone just go and punch him for no reason. Then as for the Tom Nisbet yellow card, I saw some people at the time saying that could have been a red as well, and obviously hip drop tackles are being cracked down on, but I think a yellow was a fair decision because it was clearly not done on purpose and fairly innocuous at the time.
Yeah, I think it's hard. The hip drop's just been the main point of controversy this season across the Super League and the NRL. And I also think you notice it in some tackles now. Players are letting, defenders are letting attackers get more meters because they don't want to risk giving away the penalty and getting the yellow card. But when I seen it, I was like, it's unlucky, but as a hip drop at.
Yeah.
I think there was definitely disappointment around the stadium that it was even a yellow. So to hear that there's chat of it even being a red is quite surprising. But it's a classic hip drop in terms of what's being penalised these days, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, Wakefield weren't able to take advantage of the two-man advantage they had, put any points on the board at that point. But just on David Fafita, while you mentioned him, what a reception he got all around the stadium.
I think he deserved it as well. He's a great player. Everyone loved him, not just at Wakefield. He's come in and he's clearly going to have an impact. We saw that in the first 10 minutes. His impact alone led to someone getting sent off, albeit not really his own doing. But you could see as soon as he came on, he was making them meters, doing the hard work, and he seemed like the spirit went up when he came on for Wakefield. Particularly in that first half, they had attack after attack after attack. Nothing made of it. Maybe a bit Tom Lynham's fault if we're being honest. But David Fafita definitely clearly had an impact, and I think the crowd all reacting like that is just going to help him do that.
Yeah, he flung himself about even when you could tell he was knackered, later
Yeah,
on in the game. But moving on to Lee and their performance, it was a good performance from them. They
yeah,
were solid. I thought Lachlan Lamb, brilliant. Edwin Apape, he just puts performances together
yeah,
week in, week out. I thought Hardacre was quite good as well.
yeah,
And yeah, they defended, like you said, there was definitely some try-scoring opportunities there for Wakefield that weren't taken. But as a whole, I thought Lee defended well, attacked with the usual sort of Lee pace and
yeah.
excitement, and deserved the win. And to do so with a red card was fairly impressive.
I agree. I think Lee is a clinical performance. Yeah, they were playing Wakefield, but even with 11 men against Wakefield's a tough ask. And the fact they didn't make a substitution to the 54th minute, which meant they were covering that already. That's a long stint for anyone. But we're also covering for the 2 men that were off and 1 man for the rest of the time. It's a massive job from them, and to still win by quite that margin is very, very impressive. I would say though, I think the attack I kind of expected a little bit more. That might sound a bit, a bit perhaps not really understanding, I guess. But yeah, they had 1 man sent off, 1 man in the bin for a bit, but the attack didn't look as fast flowing. And when you compared it to Saints in the game after this, and Catalan on Saturday and Hull on Sunday night, I feel like their attack wasn't quite as good, but I think it's the defense. The defense stood strong throughout the whole game, and it gave them a basis to build off.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's definitely some expectation. I think it was only 10-0 when Lee went down to 11 men, so there was definitely some hope in there for Wakefield fans. And when they did score, it did get a bit of a sarcastic applause all around the stadium. But it was quite quiet in the stadium for the majority of that first game, before obviously the St Helens and Huddersfield fans started piling in. As did the Warrington fans pile in quite early. But moving on to that next game, and unless you've got anything else to say about Lee.
No, I'm not.
No. So yeah, moving on to that next game. St Helens 48, Huddersfield Giants 6, and it was actually Huddersfield Giants that scored first.
Yeah, I thought I thought at that point still that Saints kind of started the better up to that point, and I thought this is a bit of a different Saints side to the one that we've been watching the past few weeks. But Huddersfield getting that good start shows the glimpses that they'd still have that quality in that side. And the likes of quality players like Lola Hare, like Jake Connor on his day. These players that can step up, and they really did in that first 10 minutes. And it's like they've got that bit of a weak backbone when it got tough. But that 10 minutes from Huddersfield was a good start for them.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. But like you said, St Helens did just feel like the St Helens of old almost. They felt, for the rest of the game anyway, dominant. Yeah. Alex Walmsley was brilliant. I thought he just makes a real impact on every carry, every defensive play. McCarthy Scarsbrook, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I thought he played quite well. Obviously Tommy Makinson, 4 tries. I'm just having a look here. I think it was 28 points for Makinson, which is new Magic Weekend record. A wee stat in there this week. So he was brilliant, and actually could have had about 5 or 6 tries. But that edge with him and Conrad Hurrell, really Huddersfield struggled with that, and just the explosiveness of that duo, of that edge, and also the try, was it Lussick's try where Wellesby with the pickup goes through, looked a bit slow. I thought it looked a bit slow.
I thought that as well.
Handed off to Makinson, who then flicked it for Lussick to go in the corner. That was definitely one of the tries of the weekend.
That was wonderful to watch. I think it was so unexpected. It completely fooled for Huddersfield defenders. They didn't know where the ball was, and I think Tommy Makinson on the whole, that whole performance from him was just faultless, absolutely faultless. And the fact that he still had that peace of mind to not be selfish and throw the ball off to Lussick and things like that and not make it all about him is just shows what a brilliant player he can be. And I would say, not just because of that performance, but he's probably my favourite player outside of Hull in Super League to watch.
I think he enjoys St James's Park as well. I don't know how many points he scored in that England-Samoa thrashing, but he was kicking them for fun that day and scoring them for fun that day. So definitely enjoys a game at St James's.
Yeah, who doesn't?
yeah, exactly. So that was a good game. I was watching out for James Bell, the Scotland international. I thought he actually played really well. He got about a 30-minute stint in the first half and maybe the last 15-20 in the second half, and just the way he defended more than anything, I think he helped put in the first hit of the game that really helped set the tone, and he also made a good break through the middle, I think around that 30-minute mark, which I don't think led to a try, but I thought he was brilliant. He actually got last year's Scotland Men's Player of the Year, understandably, after not only the season St Helens had, but he's doing a good job at keeping his place in that strong team.
Yeah, he throws himself around in defence and attack. He's not afraid to do the difficult things, which obviously Saints, everyone at Saints does that. That's kind of an ingrained Saints thing. But for him to come into that side as maybe relatively unknown compared to the rest of that team, and as you say, keeping his place in a side like that, he does deserve it. You can't say he doesn't. He's been playing brilliantly, and it really shows, and it does clearly help his side. Like with that break, attack, defence, he's on it. Yeah,
I think I've seen a bit on Twitter, sort of people saying he's been their best player this year.
He looks like it from a neutral watching it. It does look like that could be the case.
Definitely. No, he flings himself about, like you said. But then going on to the game, which I'm just going to let you do all the talking about. Hull FC 30, Warrington Wolves 18. And just before I let you go on and gloat about this one, I just thought the two sets of fans were probably the best of the weekend. Not only the support they both brought, but some fans went quiet during games and were clearly like nervous about the game, but both sets of fans all game long were probably the two loudest sets of fans from the weekend, and even before their game started, they were making noise.
Great to see. I think Hull always have a good following, and Warrington too. And I think it's games like that where, for most of Hull Warrington, it was on a knife edge, and it's whoever wants it takes it. Having that 13th man, 18th man. Didn't know what I was saying, man. It really did help, particularly Hull getting them across the line, but Warrington as well. It must have been a big boost to Warrington when we needed it most.
Definitely. It was a good game to watch, and I was sat nearer the end where the Hull FC fans were, and a lot of the sort of tries in the second half coming right in front of me, and surrounded by some Hull FC fans as well. It was. I was getting behind them. I had in the back of my mind that you'd be a happy man, so I was getting behind them a wee bit. But they didn't, even when they went like conceded points, I thought, oh, here we go, sort of here comes Warrington. But it never at all looked like either team were going to run away with it. I thought it was a great quality game, and I'd maybe say apart from Salford Hull, game of the week.
I think I would say that, but I might be a bit biased. But no, I think the thing for Hull in it was, yes, the attack was good in that second half, and that's what ultimately won them the game. I think if it wasn't for that defensive work that they did in that first half, that the whole game would have been over. And I think that's a testament to the new Hull that we're seeing now, because 12-0 down after 14 minutes, the old Hull would have collapsed and not really kept going, kept fighting, and we saw that so many times. In 2018, there was loads of 60, 70, 80 points put on Hull as soon because we cracked in the early stages. And I must admit, I thought it'd be a bit similar to that. I mean, in that early start, and when we were 12-0 down, and you know, I think it's just the defensive work that they do really is untalked about. And if you look at the table and think that we've conceded second most points, it doesn't look great. But when you see how we've turned that around now, and just there and the togetherness in defence, that is really what's pushing them forward to get these results.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we've sort of been saying it, haven't we? That they're making this defence a bit of an identity of theirs.
Yeah.
And I thought that like you said, that first half, that defensive identity sort of came into fruition, and then their attacking quality showed to see the game out and sent a lot of people away happy. And it goes to show, like we've mentioned on here before, inside that, well, even top 11 now with
Yeah.
Castleford getting the win, anyone can beat anyone on their day in the Super League.
Yeah.
I think it's a great advert for the game, and no, it's exciting. My first Magic weekend, spoke to plenty of people. Everyone was brilliant. The fans were brilliant. I would never want to miss one again.
Yeah.
I know you hated missing it and having to watch it at home, Jordan, but I know there's been negative talk surrounding the need for it, but I think that shows there is definitely an appetite for it. And if anyone's not been, make sure to sort of get in early for 2024 once it's announced.
Absolutely. I mean, as soon as it's announced this year, I'll be getting a ticket straight away. I'm not risking missing it again.
No, definitely. And we can maybe do a wee niche sports day out.
That will be good. That will be very good.
Definitely. So just to quickly rattle through next week's fixtures, we spoke about each team in plenty of detail. But this week's fixtures now for the Super League. Shall I just rattle them out and we both give quick predictions? Yeah,
let's do that. Yeah.
Perfect. So Friday, 9th of June, 8 o'clock, Castleford, Salford.
Salford by 12.
I was going to go Salford by 18. I think the quality they showed against Hull KR, they can keep climbing up the table. St Helens, Wigan.
I'm going to say Wigan by 10. I think that might be a shock, but I think Wigan have to bounce back, and that's the time to do it.
I'm going to say St Helens by 4. I think they will bounce back, but I think St Helens will build on that positive performance from Magic Weekend. And then only 3 games this Friday, not as many as the usual.
We're getting better.
We've got another 8 o'clock kickoff. Your team, Hull FC, are away at Lee.
Yeah, game I will be at this time. I'm going to back I say Hull FC by 6, but it'll be a tough game for both sides.
And it's hard for me to say this, especially after watching what Hull FC done last night, but I'm going to say Lee by 6. I just think, they'll have 13 men on the field this time.
Yeah. So, and to be fair, Lee by 6 isn't a bad result for Hull FC, considering the way they've been playing. So
yeah, no, definitely. I think it'll be a closer game than some might expect.
Yeah.
Into Saturday, we've got a couple of games. We've got Warrington hosting Huddersfield Giants. That's at 5 o'clock.
Warrington by 24.
Yeah, I don't really see Huddersfield, making that big an impact for the rest of the year. Dare I say it? And I'd like to be proven wrong, but I'm going to say Warrington by. What did you say?
24.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. 24. Yeah. And then 7 o'clock on Saturday, Catalans Hull KR. That'll be a good game.
It will. I don't know if that could go either way. I think Catalan will have home advantage, so I'll say Catalan by 4 just because of that.
I'll go Catalan by 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, fairly agree on that one. And then into Sunday, Wakefield hosts Leeds Rhinos. Both teams will be Wakefield looking to bounce back from their season as a whole, but Leeds from Magic Weekend and doing the classic Leeds, which seems to be winning one and losing one.
I'm gonna say Wakefield by 1. I see this as the time. That is the biggest upset I'll predict all season. I think that's the time.
Any idea if Luke Gale will be back?
I don't know. Did his groin is what I was reading, so I'm not too sure.
And just a quick shout out to yourself, obviously starting with Wakefield this Wednesday. So congratulations again. And I know there's been a bit of negativity around the social media for Wakefield, so it's good to see you going into that sort of role in the sort of work experience environment, and hopefully some more positives coming out of that environment.
Hopefully, yeah, I think it will do. I'm looking forward to it.
But I'm going to go against you and your new employers and go Leeds Rhinos by 12.
I'm not surprised. Anyone that agrees with me is crazy on that one, but we'll see.
So yeah, that's all we've got on the Super League for this week.
Proudly sponsored by heshes.co.uk, a fast-growing boxing equipment brand that give 20% of all sales on the branded products back to a boxing gym of your choice.